Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really digging into not just a stellar career, but trying to unpack the essence, the DNA, if you will, of sporting greatness. We're looking at Cristiano Ronaldo.
Exactly.
We've got his biography, all the stats, the highlights. And our mission really is to figure out what key things fueled this just incredible record-shattering run he's had.
Absolutely. It's more than just watching the goals, isn't it? It's about understanding that sustained level of excellence. How does someone do that for so long?
And right from the start, the story's fascinating. Like, he was named after Ronald Reagan. Apparently, his dad was a big fan.
No, really, to know that.
Yeah. And his mother, well, she faced really tough times, even considered not going through with the pregnancy. And then there's the fact he had a heart condition, needed surgery early in his career path.
Wow. Straight away, you see these potential roadblocks.
Right. It makes you think, how did those early, maybe defining moments shape that almost superhuman drive he seems to possess?
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because sometimes those early struggles, they forge something in you. That heart condition, needing surgery so young, maybe that gave him a deeper sense of, or appreciating his physical ability, the need to just push it to the max, an early win almost.
That's a really interesting way to put it. And that drive, it showed up so early. I mean, 12 years old, leaves Madeira, leaves his family, goes to Lisbon for Sporting's Academy.
Big move that age.
Huge. And football was everything. He actually left school at 14, just total dedication to the game. You don't see that kind of focus often.
No, you really don't. It tells you something about the fire inside him already, making that sacrifice. It speaks volumes about his ambition, his belief. And, his mother's support must have been crucial there, too. Getting into that pro environment so young definitely shaped him.
And like a lot of the greats, he had his heroes growing up. He mentioned Ronaldinho, Ronaldo Nazario, talked about the beautiful history they made. You wonder what bits of their game he maybe tried to copy early on.
That's a good point. Both of them, known for flair, skill, pure attacking threat. Maybe he saw in them what was possible, even though his own style ended up being, well, different, but just as deadly.
And his rise at Sporting was, well, fast. 17, he's in the first team. Makes his pro debut against Inter Milan, believe it or not, in a Champions League qualifier.
Wow, thrown right in.
Then his league debut against Braga, scores his first goals against Moreirense, and suddenly, bang, the big clubs are sniffing around. Liverpool, Barcelona, even met with Arsene Wenger at Arsenal.
Imagine that. It just shows the instant impact he had.
Yeah.
Attracting that kind of attention at 17. That's serious talent, that Arsenal meeting. Yeah, one of football's big what-ifs, isn't it? Wenger's Arsenal.
Yeah.
How different would things have been?
But history went another way, didn't it? That preseason friendly, August 2003, Sporting versus Manchester United, Sporting win, and Sir Alex Ferguson. He apparently just decided on the spot. We need him.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. The plan was maybe loan him back, but the story goes the United players themselves, after the game, told Fergie, you've got to sign him now.
That's incredible. I mean, for established pros to see it that clearly, that quickly, and push for the signing, that tells you everything about the impression he made. And Ferguson's instinct there, legendary.
So it happens. Record fee for a teenager in England back then, £12 million. And he becomes the first Portuguese player for Manchester United. That felt significant too.
Oh, absolutely. The fee alone showed the huge expectation. And being the first Portuguese player, it sort of opened the door, maybe made other Portuguese talents think, yeah, United is a place for us.
He apparently wanted number 28, his old Sporting number, but Ferguson says, no, you're having number 7. The iconic shirt, best, Cantona, Beckham.
Wow. No pressure then.
Right. But Ronaldo said it actually motivated him, and his relationship with Ferguson, it seems like that was key. Almost like a father figure, people say.
That number 7 at Old Trafford, it's heavy. So much history. For a young kid to take that on and, well, thrive, that shows serious mental strength. And Ferguson's role, yeah, you can't underestimate that. Guiding him, supporting him, crucial for a young player in a new country at a massive club.
His debut against Bolton, George Best called it the most exciting debut he'd ever seen.
Coming from Best, that's massive.
Doesn't get much higher. First goal came soon after against Portsmouth. And his first season ends with an FA Cup win, 2004. He scores the opener in the final. I mean, talk about hitting the ground running.
To make that kind of splash immediately at a club like United, It just screams adaptability,
Yeah.
mental toughness, and winning a big trophy first season. That just builds belief, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it wasn't all smooth sailing. Early days, he got stick for the stepovers, didn't he? People thought it was just flashy, maybe unnecessary.
Yeah, I remember that.
But Gary Neville, his teammate, defended him fiercely, said he'd become world-class. Neville wasn't wrong, was he?
He certainly wasn't. It shows you, though, the different ways people saw his style back then. What's flair in one place might be seen differently elsewhere. Neville backing him like that shows the faith the senior players had, even while he was still, developing.
He picks up a League Cup medal in 2005. But then, season 3, challenges. Clashes with Ruud van Nistelrooy, apparently. And then the big one, the Wayne Rooney incident at the 2006 World Cup. That whole winking thing.
Oh, yeah, that caused a storm.
Huge storm. Led to him apparently asking for a transfer. It was a real test for him.
Definitely. You got the internal team dynamics, then that intense public pressure after the World Cup. Yeah, a lot of players might have crumbled there.
But he didn't crumble. He came back absolutely flying. That 2006-07 season was his real breakthrough at United. Over 20 goals, wins his first Premier League title. And the boos from away fans, he seemed to just feed off it.
That's the thing, isn't it? That mental strength, taking negativity and turning it into fuel, that's a classic trait of the very best. Shows incredible focus, self-belief.
And the awards started flooding in. PFA Players Player, Fans Player, Young Player of the Year, Football Writers Player of the Year. The clean sweep.
Unbelievable season.
Bless runner-up for the Ballon d'Or, third for FIFA World Player. The world was really sitting up and taking notice now.
Yeah, that sweep of the English awards cemented him as, the outstanding player. Getting nods from fellow pros and the press says it all. And those global nominations. Just the start.
And it just kept rolling. First hat trick for United against Newcastle showed his goal scoring was becoming relentless. He wins the Premier League Golden Boot, then the European Golden Shoe. First winger to do that.
Which is incredible, really.
More PFA and FWA awards, then the big one. The Champions League in 2008, Moscow. Against Chelsea, even though he missed his penalty in the shootout.
Still got the winner's medal?
Exactly. And he was the Champions League top scorer, UEFA Club Footballer of the Year. And then finally, his first Ballon d'Or and FIFA World Player of the Year. United's first Ballon d'Or winner in 40 years.
That whole period, 07 to 09, that was him reaching the absolute summit. Global superstar confirmed. Yeah. Champions League was the team peak. Ballon d'Or, the individual peak.
And inevitably, Real Madrid started making serious noise. There was that whole saga, FIFA complaints. But he stayed one more year at United.
Right.
Scored that goal against Porto, the Puskas Award winner. He said it was his best ever goal. Just thunderous.
Oh, yeah. Unforgettable strike, pure power and technique.
United got to another Champions League final that year, but lost to Barcelona and Rome. It kind of felt like, okay, Kai, that's the end of the chapter in England.
It did feel that way.
Yeah.
That Porto goal was maybe a final flourish. He'd won pretty much everything at United. The pull of Madrid, the Galacticos, was always going to be strong.
So 2009, it happens. World record transfer. 94 million or 80 million. Just staggering numbers.
Absolutely astronomical.
And his presentation at the Bernabeu, 80,000 fans. Just to see him unveiled, he called it a boyhood dream. The scale of it was immense.
That fee, that presentation, it was Real Madrid saying, he's our guy. We're building around him. Pure Galactico ambition. Huge pressure on him from day one.
He started well, scored in his first 4 La Liga games, first Madrid player ever to do that, got Champions League goals too. Then an ankle injury slowed him down a bit.
Right, that setback.
Yeah. And despite scoring, 33 goals in his first season, Real Madrid didn't win any major trophies. That must have felt weird after all the success at United.
Definitely different, even with the goals. At Madrid, the expectation is silverware every season. So a trophyless start. That would just added fuel to his fire for the next year.
And then Raul left, and he took the number 7 shirt at Madrid, too, another iconic number.
Follow another club legend. No pressure again.
Yeah. But 2010-11, he exploded. 53 goals in total. Helped Madrid win the Copa del Rey, beating Barcelona in the final. That was his first trophy in Spain.
Huge win against Pep's Barca.
Massive. And he became the first player to hit 40 goals in a La Liga season. Won his second European Golden Shoe, first guy to win it in 2 different leagues. Just rewriting record books again.
Taking that number 7, winning that Copa del Rey against that Barcelona team. It really felt like he'd arrived as the leader for Madrid, setting new standards.
The next season, 2011-12, was even better in some ways. 60 goals in all competitions. Madrid win La Liga with a record 100 points under Mourinho.
Dominant season for them.
Yeah. He was runner-up to Messi again for the Ballon d'Or, though. Broke Puskas' record for fastest to 100 league goals for Madrid, scored his first Champions League hat-trick for them, became the first player to score in 6 Clásicos in a row.
Incredible consistency in the biggest games.
Yet, still second to Messi in the Ballon d'Or voting. That rivalry was just... It defined that era, didn't it?
It really did. They pushed each other to heights we'd never seen before, constantly breaking records. It was captivating for all of us watching.
Then 2012-13, he captained Madrid for the first time. And get this, first non-Spanish captain in El Clásico in 60 years.
Wow, that's a statement.
And that game was also his 500th club appearance overall. It just shows the standing he'd achieved there.
Absolutely. To be given the armband, especially for El Clásico, huge sign of respect, shows the leadership he'd developed.
And then came the era of the BBC, Bale, Benzema, Cristiano.
Oh, yeah. Terrifying front three.
Terrifying. But even with Bale and Benzema alongside him, his goal output barely dipped. He scored 69 goals in the calendar year 2013. And finally, he won the FIFA Ballon d'Or again, his first as a Real Madrid player.
That must have felt huge for him, breaking Messi's streak.
Yeah, it seemed like a massive moment. Confirmation, perhaps, that he was back on top.
And with the BBC, even with those other amazing talents, he was still the main man, still banging in the goals. Winning that Ballon d'Or again cemented his place as the best in the world at that point.
Then the 2013-14 season, La Decima, Real Madrid's 10th European Cup. Huge obsession, finally realized.
Monumental for the club.
And he was central to it. Scored in the final against Atletico Madrid, became the first player to score in 2 finals for 2 different winning teams.
Incredible stat.
Plus Champions League top scorer with a record 17 goals that season. UEFA Best Player in Europe. Another Pichichi for top scorer in Spain. Another European Golden Shoe. Just a season of total triumph.
La Decima was the holy grail for Madrid. For him to deliver that, breaking the goal record along the way. Yeah, legendary status confirmed right there.
Next season, 2014-15, he hits a personal best. 61 goals in all competitions.
61. Just insane numbers.
Madrid win the Club World Cup. He gets his 3rd Ballon d'Or, his top scorer in the Champions League again. Tied with Messi and Neymar this time. Scored 5 goals in 1 league game. Reached 300 goals for Real Madrid. And, yep, another Pichichi and a record 4th European Golden Shoe.
It's just relentless, isn't it? Constantly breaking his own insane records. That drive to just keep getting better is almost hard to comprehend.
And the milestones just kept coming between 2015 and 2018. He becomes Real Madrid's all-time top scorer, overtaking Raul, becomes the all-time Champions League top scorer, hits 500 career goals.
Just ticking off every major record.
Wins his 4th Ballon d'Or, then the first ever. The Best FIFA Men's Player Award helped massively by Portugal winning Euro 2016, of course.
Right. The international success feeding into the individual awards, too. Hitting those all-time marks for Madrid and in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Just cemented his legacy.
2016-17 season, first player to reach 100 goals in UEFA club competitions. Becomes the all-time top scorer across Europe's top 5 leagues. Madrid win La Liga, their first since 2012.
Big title for them under Zidane.
And then the Champions League final against Juventus in Cardiff. He scores twice. Madrid win. He's top scorer again, 5th straight season. First player to score in 3 different Champions League era finals. That was his 600th career goal. And Madrid become the first team to win back-to-back Champions Leagues in the modern format.
Just an era of utter dominance for him and for Real Madrid. Performing on the biggest stage year after year, leading them to those consecutive titles. Legendary stuff.
Wins his 2nd, the best award, 5th Ballon d'Or, tying Messi at the time.
Love
Then
it.
that goal against Juventus, the bicycle kick in Turin.
Oh, unforgettable. Pure magic.
Got a standing ovation from the Juventus fans. You don't see that often.
Very rare. A sign of
Yeah.
ultimate respect for a moment of genius.
He wins his 5th Champions League title that season. First player ever to do that. Top scorer for the 6th year running. But then, after the final, he starts dropping hints about leaving.
Yeah, that felt like a turning point.
It felt like, okay, he's conquered Spain. He's won everything multiple times. Maybe he needs a new mountain.
Exactly. Maybe he felt he'd done all he could do at Madrid. Seeking that fresh challenge, perhaps?
And that challenge came from Italy. Summer 2018, he signs for Juventus. 100 million fee, highest ever for a player over 30, highest ever paid by an Italian club.
Bold move. Big statement from Juve, big statement from him.
He said he needed a new challenge. Later mentioned maybe feeling a lack of support from Florentino Perez, the Real Madrid president, whatever the reason, moving to Serie A at 33. It was a big call.
It really was. Going to a notoriously tough defensive league at that age for that fee showed his ambition was still burning bright. He still believed he could dominate anywhere.
Made his Serie A debut in August 2018. Got his first ever Champions League red card quite early on for Juve, remember that?
Yeah, bit of a shock that was.
Bit of a setback. But he still became the first player to actually win 100 Champions League matches during his time there. Shows his resilience again.
Yeah, even with bumps in the road, the underlying consistency in Europe was still there.
First trophy for Juve was the Supercoppa Italian Super Cup. He scored the winner, naturally. Equaled a Serie A record, scoring in 9 away games in a row.
Finding his feet quickly.
And then that Champions League night against Atletico Madrid, down 2-0 from the first leg. He scores a hat-trick in Turin to turn it around. Vintage Ronaldo.
Absolutely. That was pure leadership, pure big game mentality. Dragged them through.
And they won the Scudetto, the Serie A title, which meant he became the first player ever to win league titles in England, Spain, and Italy.
Incredible achievement. Just shows his adaptability, his winning mentality, translating across totally different football cultures. And he was named Serie A MVP that first season, too.
The records kept coming at Juve. Most Champions League wins overall. Remember that header against Sampdoria, where he just seemed to hang in the air forever?
Oh, yeah. Defied physics, that one. Incredible athleticism.
Scored his first Serie A hat-trick, making him only the second player after Edin Dzeko, I think, to get hat-tricks in the Premier League, Liga, and Serie A.
Another unique record.
Equaled another Serie A record, scoring in 11 consecutive league games. Overtook Rui Costa as the highest-scoring Portuguese player in Serie A history. Reached 50 Serie A goals faster than anyone for Juve, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
And became the first player to hit 50 goals in the Premier League, La Liga, and Serie A. Also, oldest player since like the 1940s to score 30-plus goals in a top European League season.
Just relentless. Even in his mid-30s in a tough league, the goals just kept flowing. Testament to his fitness, his dedication.
And he won a second Serie A title, broke Juve's club record for most goals in a single season across all competitions, 37.
Still setting records at a historic club like Juventus.
Played his 100th game for them. Became the first player to score 20-plus goals in 12 consecutive seasons in Europe's top 5 leagues. Fastest Juve player to 100 goals overall, and significantly became the first player to win every major domestic trophy in England, Spain, and Italy. League, Cup, Super Cup, and all 3.
That's genuinely unique. Winning everything domestically in 3 major leagues just highlights his incredible impact wherever he went.
He also won the Capocannoniere Serie A Top Scorer Award in his last season there, making him the first player to be top scorer in the English, Spanish, and Italian leagues.
Another first. The list just goes on and on.
But then, reports started swirling about him wanting to leave Juventus. A move to Man City looked like it might happen.
Yeah, that was close, wasn't it?
Very close, apparently. But it fell through. And then suddenly, the narrative shifted. Manchester United were in advanced talks. A sensational return was on the cards.
Wow. That came out of nowhere, really.
Yeah.
So much nostalgia, so much emotion tied up in that potential move.
United announced the agreement in late August 2021. He got the number 7 shirt back. Edinson Cavani graciously gave it up.
Classy move by Cavani.
Definitely. And the shirt sales just went through the roof, broke all sorts of records apparently. The hype was unbelievable.
Oh, the buzz was immense. It just showed what he still meant to United fans, that connection from his first spell. Iconic status.
And his second debut, Old Trafford, was absolutely electric. He scored twice against Newcastle. Perfect return script.
Couldn't have written it better.
Then he scores a last-minute winner against Villarreal in the Champions League. On the night, he broke the record for most appearances in the competition. More clutch moments. Scored crucial goals throughout that group stage. Surpassed 800 career goals during that time, too.
He showed straight away he could still deliver those big moments, even back in the Premier League. The goal-scoring instinct was still sharp.
The second spell overall, it wasn't the fairy tale everyone hoped for, was it?
No, it started well, but things seemed to unravel.
Yeah, reports of struggles within the team, fractured relationships. He did score his first goal of 2022 against Brighton, broke a bit of a drought. And individually, he still performed, got named in the Premier League Team of the Year, won United's own Player of the Year award.
Which was remarkable, really, given how poorly the team finished.
Yeah.
Shows his individual quality was still there.
But yeah, trophyless season, they finished way off the pace in the league. And then came the summer where he wanted to leave, reportedly to play Champions League football.
Right. The transfer saga that didn't quite happen.
Exactly. No move materialized. He stayed, but then the relationship with the new manager, Erik ten Hag, deteriorated pretty publicly,
Yeah, that became quite messy.
culminating in that controversial interview he gave, criticizing the manager, the club. And shortly after, his contract was terminated by mutual consent. A pretty sad, abrupt end to his United story, really.
It was. A real shame it ended that way, given the history. A stark contrast to the glory days of his first spell. Just shows how quickly things can change in football.
So, end of 2022, he makes another massive move. Signs for Al Nasser in Saudi Arabia. Huge contract, apparently the biggest salary in football history, running until 2025. A completely new direction.
Yeah, a landmark move, really. Not just for him, but it signaled a huge shift in the football landscape, bringing massive attention to the Saudi League.
Made his debut in January 2023, got his first goal soon after, then had that game where he scored all 4 goals for Al Nasser, and his first in that match was his 500th career league goal.
Still hitting milestones.
And he's widely credited with, kicking off this wave of big names moving to Saudi Arabia, really raising the profile, attracting investment. His impact went way beyond just playing.
Undoubtedly. His arrival was a catalyst. It gave the league instant global recognition, made other top players see it as a serious option.
And he's won things there, too. Led Al Nasser to win the Arab Club Champions Cup last summer, scored both goals in the final, finished 2023 as the world's top scorer across all competitions, 54 goals.
Incredible. Still banging them in.
Broke the record for most goals in a single Saudi Pro League season. Became the first player ever to be the top scorer in 4 different top-flight leagues: England, Spain, Italy, and now Saudi Arabia.
Another unique record to add to the collection.
And just recently, in the King Cup final, which they unfortunately lost, he equaled the record for the most official top-level matches played by any male professional footballer. Just that the longevity is staggering. Even in a new league, new environment, he's still setting records.
It's truly remarkable to maintain that drive, that goal-scoring prowess across so many different leagues, different continents at his age. It just solidifies his legacy as a true global phenomenon.
Okay, let's pivot slightly to his international career with Portugal, because that's been just as extraordinary, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Cornerstone of the national team for 2 decades.
Debuted at 18. Scored his first goal for Portugal at Euro 2004, which they hosted. They reached the final, lost to Greece, but he made the team of the tournament, a sign of what was to come.
Burst onto the international scene straight away. Showed he belonged at that level.
2006 World Cup, becomes Portugal's youngest ever goal scorer at a World Cup. Portugal finished 4th. Remember the controversy around the Best Young Player award that year? Podolski won it. Some thought Ronaldo deserved it.
Yeah, there was some debate.
Yeah.
But that experience, getting to a World Cup semifinal so young, would have been massive for his development.
Captain Portugal for the first time just a year later, 2007. Key player at Euro 2008. 2010 World Cup. Only scored 1 goal, I think, but was man of the match in all 3 group games. Shows his influence wasn't just goals.
Right. Even when not scoring loads, his overall contribution, his presence, was clearly vital for them.
Euro 2012, he was joint top scorer, made team of the tournament again. Then the qualifiers for the 2014 World Cup. That playoff against Sweden. Zlatan versus Ronaldo. He scored all 4 goals over the 2 legs to get Portugal there.
Just dragged them through single-handedly.
Yeah.
Prime talisman performance.
Becoming absolutely crucial for them.
Yep.
The big one. Euro 2016.
The pinnacle.
Leading Portugal to their first ever major trophy. He got injured in the final, had to come off, but his impact throughout the tournament was huge. Won the silver boot, and that success surely played a big part in him winning his 4th Ballon d'Or.
Without a doubt. That Euro win was massive for him, for Portugal. Cemented his legacy for his country, finally getting that international trophy.
And he just kept going. 2018 World Cup, scores that hat-trick against Spain, becomes the oldest player ever to score a World Cup hat-trick.
Incredible performance in an incredible game.
Breaks Puskás' record for most international goals by a European player, makes the World Cup dream team. Just the longevity at the very top is nuts.
It really is. To be performing like that at multiple World Cups, spanning so many years, exceptional consistency and dedication to his country.
Then he leads Portugal to another trophy, the first ever UEFA Nations League in 2019. He was top scorer in the finals tournament.
Adding more silverware.
Euro 2020, played in 2021. He wins the Golden Boot, becomes the first player to score at 5 different European championships. And during that tournament, he breaks Ali Dai's long-standing record for the most goals in men's international football.
Just rewriting all the major international records. Phenomenal achievement.
Becomes the most capped European player ever. First player to score 10 international hat tricks. Then the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. Becomes the first man to score at 5 different World Cups.
Another unique milestone.
Although, controversially, he was dropped from the starting lineup for the knockout games.
Yeah, that was a big talking point. A tough end to that tournament for him personally.
But even so, scoring in 5 World Cups. Incredible. Since then, he's become the most capped male footballer in history. First man to reach 200 international appearances. Scored over 100 goals in the 2000s, the 2010s, and the 2020s.
The consistency across decades is just mind-blowing.
And now, he's become the first player to feature in 6 European championships, just recently scored his 900th career goal overall. The numbers are they're staggering. You run out of superlatives.
His international career alone would make him a legend. The records, the longevity, the trophies, it's unparalleled, really.
So, as we sort of wrap up this deep dive, looking back at Cristiano Ronaldo's career, what we're seeing is just an unparalleled sporting life, isn't it? Incredible length of time at the absolute summit, a list of records that seems almost endless, and major success in different leagues, different countries, internationally. It really does redefine what you think is possible in sport.
Absolutely. His journey, when you lay it all out like this, it's almost like a case study in sustained elite performance in arguably the world's most competitive sport.
And the key things that jump out, well, that fierce dedication right from childhood, that ability not just to face setbacks, injuries, criticism, controversy, but to somehow use them as motivation.
Definitely. That resilience is a constant thread.
Then there's the relentless drive for improvement year after year, the adaptability thriving in Portugal, England, Spain, Italy, now Saudi Arabia, different teams, managers, styles of play.
And always scoring goals. That's the constant.
Really scoring goals, that incredible, consistent, almost mechanical goal-scoring prowess.
And like we touched on earlier, underneath all that seems to be this unbelievable mental strength, that self-belief, that drive.
Yeah.
It seems almost unbreakable. It had to be to achieve all this.
Which kind of leads us to a final thought for you listening. When you think about how football keeps changing, how sports science keeps advancing, is it actually realistic to think we'll see another athlete achieve this level of dominance for this long across so many different elite environments?
That's a tough question.
What does Ronaldo's career really tell us about maybe the limits of what humans can achieve athletically? Or perhaps more importantly, what does it tell us about the power of mindset, that sheer mental fortitude?
It's definitely something to ponder. Has he set a bar that's just unreachable now? Or shown others what's possible with the right combination of talent, work ethic, and mental toughness? Fascinating.
It really is. Well, thanks for diving in depth with us on this one.